What's up YouTube, it's the Gaming Jackal, and I'm here with Andrew Mavaddat, and we're going to be doing a video collaboration talking about our top 10 Gears of War characters. So Gears of War is a game series that we are fans of. It's a really good game franchise, and let's do this, our top 10 Gears of War characters. So my number 10 choice is going to be Kim, or Lieutenant Min Young Kim. Really like the character Kim from Gears of War. I thought he was really cool. I like his design, I like his voice actor, I liked playing as him in the Raams Shadow campaign, the multiplayer. I like a lot of the stuff he has to say, and his stuff in the story was cool. He was the lieutenant before Marcus was. He was in charge before he was. His death by Raam being like a death scene in the first Gears of War game, having some story in Raams Shadow where he knew Michael Barrick and Ty and Alicia, and he had this rival thing going on with Raam and Raams Shadow starting there. So yeah, I think Kim is a really cool character, and I do like him. Think he's pretty awesome, and definitely always been one of my favorite characters. Really do like Lieutenant Min Young Kim, and I think he's really cool. Would have been interesting if he was still alive in the series or still around. And I just kind of liked how he was like a straightforward, serious, just kind of like, you know, just serious soldier, you know, just going in, and you know, he kind of had this like plain Jane approach to him, if that makes sense, and it worked because he's a good character. So that's my number 10 choice. Number 9 choice is Ty Colosso. Ty was an awesome character, was a badass Gears of War character. He was great in Gears of War 2. He was a beast of a character. He was like this, he looked like a Samoan type character. He had these cool tattoos, cool haircut, very muscular, big dude. And I thought he was badass. I liked his voice actor a lot. I liked his involvement in the Gears of War 2 story. He went up against Scourge, chainsawing against him. He survived a car getting exploded and said everything happens for a reason. He was just so badass and cool as fuck. I even remember he said something about he liked the look of Locust, Bud Light. And Dom was like, you got a sick mind, Ty. And he was just a really cool character. And his death scene was fucked up in Gears of War 2. He's all tortured. He looks fucked up. He takes a shotgun and blows his head off. And even Benjamin Carmine was like, damn. Or one of the characters was like, even someone as tough as Ty, that happened to him, you know. And Ty was a very tough character. He was awesome in Raams Shadow. His design was cool. His interaction with Michael Barrick and Kim. And he was like kind of this spiritual, he had like kind of this spiritual personality to him, I would say. I liked his involvement in Raams Shadow. It was cool to see him in there. You know, his stuff in Gears 2 was great. It was always fun to play as him in the Raams Shadow campaign or Gears of War 2 or the new Gears of War games. I love his designs. I like him in gameplay. I like what he says. I like his voice actor. I think it's a shame that he died as a character, because it would have been cool to see him around and see him still alive, because he's a badass character. And his death scene was fucked up. It was like, holy shit, because he was just such a tough, spiritual, you know, can't be phased kind of guy. And you saw him in Gears 2, and then after that situation with Scourge, just like they tortured him. So that's my number 9 choice, Ty. My number 8 choice is Dizzy Wallen. I definitely like Dizzy. Another character I really like. Another great addition from Gears of War 2. He's just like this fun, like country, southern type dude with the cowboy hat. He has this vehicle APC that he names Betsy, which is almost like a woman, and he just has a very fun personality. A lot of the stuff he says is funny. He's just this fun southern country dude. Cool design. And I like his involvement in the Gears of War 2 story. He's your driver. I like his dialogue. He can be funny at times. I like using him in gameplay in Gears of War 2 and 3 and the newer ones. Big Rick Dizzy was a pretty cool design. He always had this like piece of grass in his mouth. I'm glad he actually got to live, because he disappeared at the same time Ty did in Gears of War 2. And we saw Dizzy come back in Gears of War 3. But I think Dizzy's a cool character. Glad he came back. Glad they kept him alive. I just liked his personality, liked his design, liked his voice actor. It was fun to play as him, and I liked a lot of the lines he said. I thought he was just a funny, cool dude, and great addition in Gears 2. And he's an awesome character. So that's my number 8 choice, Dizzy Wallen. So my number 7 choice is going to be Colonel Urza Loomis from Gears of War Judgment. I love Colonel Urza Loomis. Now, he's kind of a bad guy in Gears of War Judgment a little bit, because you got all this stuff going on, this Locust War, and all this other stuff that they should be dealing with instead, but he's taken Baird to trial for the whole missile thing. He went against his orders, and Loomis has him in court despite all this war happening. He's taken precedence in this, and even like had Paddock punched. So he has kind of a villainous side to him, but I do like Colonel Loomis. I thought he was a very strong, cool, badass, COG leader. I liked his stuff in Gears of War Judgment. It was fun to play as him. I like his design. He almost has like a Nobunaga cow look to him a little bit with like the facial hair. I like his design. I like his voice actor. I like his lines. It was fun to play as him in gameplay. And I thought he was a really cool character. I liked his involvement in the Gears of War Judgment story, him taking them to court, all his interactions, all the characters, and, you know, going after Baird for dismissing orders. He was a cool new character in Gears of War Judgment, one of the better things about that game, and I definitely like him as a character. Urza Loomis is really cool, and it was fun playing as him. I always thought he was just a cool character. I like his voice actor, I like his design, I like his dialogue, I liked his involvement in the Gears of War Judgment story, and I liked his just playing as him overall. I thought he was just a cool, tough, kind of cold, villainous, a little bit Gears of War, you know, COG leader. I just thought he was cool. So that's my number 7 choice, Colonel Urza Loomis. I think he was like a leader of the Onyx because he has kind of that Onyx look to his armor. So yeah, Onyx was kind of his, the Onyx guards was his soldiers. My number 6 choice, I want to put some Locust in here too, if I can. My number 6 choice is going to be Raam, aka General Raam. Raam's definitely a cool Gears of War character, a phenomenal villain, a great standout from the Locust side, awesome villain, very ruthless. He killed Lieutenant Min Young Kim. He led the Locust army. You fight him at the end of Gears of War 1, and he's just a memorable bad guy. Really cool design, especially in the remake, whether it's the original or the remake of Gears of War 1. Both of his designs are really cool. He's this big-ass fucking Locust, very intimidating. He has this cool sword. He has the krill. He controls the krill. He's got all the Locusts he leads. And I also liked his involvement in Raam's Shadow, where you got more with him from Raam's Shadow. You got to actually play as him, which was fun, with his krill and sword. He was just this huge, intimidating, big Locust character. And I thought he was a really cool villain, a really cool bad guy. Memorable. He was fun to play as in all the Gears of War games with the verses and stuff like that. Fun to play as in Raam's Shadow. Great voice actor. You know, intimidating villain. Huge Locust character. Led the Locusts. I like the krill aspect he had. Those bats that would kill people. Being the big dude having the sword. He had the big turret gun he would hold around. He was very difficult to fight in Gears of War 1 and the remake, especially on Insane by yourself with the fucking AI. He is tough to fight. Takes forever to kill. He can run up on you, and the AI is not the best, and the krill attacks you. He was a very challenging boss fight. So that's my number 6 choice, General Raam. Cool character, and I think he's definitely like the best villain in the Gears of War series, and like the best Locust leader we've had, I think. My number 5 choice is going to be Hoffman. Really like Hoffman. Hoffman's a great character, definitely one of my favorite characters in Gears of War. Just a badass old man that was always ready to fight and go into war. Didn't, you know, and it was always cool to have this old guy in the military war. He had a really cool voice actor. He always had really cool designs. He always had a really cool personality. Stuff going on with him and Marcus, his involvement in the story of Gears of War 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the games he was in. I like that aspect. It was fun to play as him in all the games. He was always one of my favorites to use in the verses, in the horde mode. I loved a lot of the dialogue he had. I liked the country southern accent that his character had. He was just always just a badass old man, badass old dude, you know, don't fuck with him type guy. He was always just awesome. Always had cool looking designs, always had a cool voice actor, always had a cool voice. It was always fun to use in gameplay, and he was always just a great character, and I liked his involvement in the story. And he's always been one of my favorites, and always been one of my go-to characters to play as. So that's my number 5 choice, Hoffman. Great character, definitely a really cool one, I think. My number 4 choice is going to be the Locust drone. I want to put another Locust in here. Locust drone's great. I mean, you fight this enemy a lot in the Gears of War games. It's one of the main Locusts you constantly see. Just an iconic character. I love the design of the Locust drone. Very original, distinctive, stands out. It's one of the things that made Gears of War great and stand out. I love the design of the Locust drone, how it looks with the armor. His voice is cool. His lines are cool. It was fun to use him in versus and multiplayer. And just an iconic Locust character, iconic Gears of War character, and a memorable. You know, it's like the basically the, I don't know what the term is, but it's like the main thing you think of when you think of Locusts, and one of the things you think of with Gears of War, because you always see drones. It's one of the main things you're fighting all the time, and it's an iconic character, and I like the fact that you can also play as him too. Great Locust character, cool voice actor, cool designs. Was fun to use in all the Gears of War games in the versus mode. I think you could use him in Beast Mode in Gears of War 3. And then, you know, it was always cool. Just a cool character, iconic, memorable. And one of the Locust characters you always remember. And always liked it. The Locust Drone character. Just a really cool. One of the iconic characters and just a cool Locust character. So that's my number 4 choice. The Locust Drone. Really cool character. And they always dropped, like, you know, the Hammer Burst in Gears of War 1 and various other guns. Really cool character. Number 3 choice, my personal favorite Locust character is the Grenadier or the Grenadier Elite. Easily my favorite Locust character. Love these characters. They're just so badass and cool as hell. Whether it's the one where it's just like the pants and no shirt and the muscles, or they have the armor around them, or they have like this spiky thing on the arm, which that's one of the things I noticed about Gears of War is like you could play as the Grenadier and Grenadier Elite, but the Grenadiers that just had like this kind of spiky thing right here, you could never play as them. I don't know why. They should have the most playable character, but Grenadier and the Grenadier Elites have always been my favorite Locust character. They're just the coolest. They're muscular. They got a cool voice actor. They always had the shotgun and the grenades and the bolt-hock pistol. They were always some of the most dangerous Locusts to fight too, because from far away, they could do so much damage with a shotgun. And they were always just so dangerous to deal with. And they always just had really cool voice actors, really cool designs, bald head and muscular, or the version with the armor on them. And always had a cool loadout. It was always cool to fight them in the Gears of War games, challenging. They always stood out to me. And I always loved playing as these characters in any of the Gears of War games they were in. The versus multiplayer was always my favorite Locust to play as, and was always my go-to to play as when it came to the Locust characters. I just think the Grenadier Elite is really cool, and the Grenadier, whichever version it is. They're just so cool and badass. I like the elite muscle of the Locust team, and some of the most dangerous to deal with. Because shotguns are usually for close range, but even from far away, they can do a lot of damage with a shotgun. Or they get close to you, bolt-hock, they can throw grenades. So that's my number 3 choice, the Grenadier and Grenadier Elites. My number 2 choice is going to be Michael Barrick. I love Michael Barrick. Easily one of my favorite Gears of War characters. Easily one of the best Gears of War characters of all time. Love Michael Barrick. He was so badass and cool in Raams Shadow. I love his design. He's got like this balding look with like this facial hair. He always had a cigar in his mouth when he always played as him, aiming the gun, which was pretty cool. I love his voice. It's very cool, very gruff, very badass sounding. He had cool lines of dialogue. He had kind of like this sun tattoo right here, muscular dude. It was awesome playing as him in Raams Shadow. I enjoyed his character in there. I thought he was a great leader. I think Michael Barrick, besides like Marcus Phoenix, was one of the best new characters and different leading characters. Because Marcus is a good character, and he was good at leading the Gears of War games. And I feel like Michael Barrick was one of the other characters that they did a good job with that you had besides Marcus. And of course, Baird was good in Gears of War Judgement as well. But I really like Michael Barrick. Cool name. It was fun to play as him in Raams Shadow. I always liked playing as him in Gears of War 3's Horde and Versus. He was one of my most played characters, one of my most go-to characters. I like his voice actor. I like his design. The aspect of him always holding a cigar in his mouth was cool. And he was always just this tough dude. Now, they didn't show it in the games, but in the comic books, he goes out like a badass. He's like dying from, I think, the emulsion, and he meets up with Marcus and Dom, and he stays behind and fights Locusts and Beast Riders on the Blood Mounts with his bare hands, which is fucking badass, and a badass way for him to go out. He's like, I'm dying anyways. He has Marcus and Dom go on ahead, and he holds off the Blood Mounts and Beast Riders with his bare hands and is fighting them and shit. That is bad fucking ass. Love Michael Barrick. Wish he could have been in more games. Wish he could have been in the series more. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Ron Perlman, Hellboy, for those that know that actor and that character. And I just always thought he was badass. Cool name, cool design, great voice actor, cool gruff voice, badass tough guy. Definitely one of my favorites to use. And I always just thought he was really fucking cool and a great new addition to the Gears of War series. And his Raams Shadow campaign was phenomenal. I really liked that campaign because it was like before Gears of War 1, and it was more that old style of Gears of War 1, and then more of the Raams stuff. He was just a really cool character, and I liked his dynamic with Kim and Ty and Alicia and Jace and all that stuff. That was great. So that's my number 2 choice. My number 1 choice, my all-time favorite Gears of War character, is going to be Dominic Santiago. Definitely my favorite character of all time. Ever since I played the first game, Dom has always been and will always be my favorite character of all time in the Gears of War franchise. Just a badass character. You feel bad for him because he loses his wife, he loses his kids, and he falls into a depression. And of course, spoiler alert, but in Gears of War 3, he dies and sacrifices himself so the rest of the characters live. And his death affected me. It was one of the sad video game deaths that made me cry. When I first played Gears of War 3, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, they actually killed Dom. Because, you know, in the Gears of War series, he's the other character besides Marcus. Him and Marcus are like the 2 characters you follow through the first 3 games. And they're always together. They're in every single game. They have the most screen time out of all the characters. And you play as them. Marcus is first player and Dom is second player. And they had a huge dynamic and huge chemistry. They were basically like brothers. And Dom was always cool. He always had cool designs. He always had a really cool voice actor, really cool lines. He was just a badass soldier. Hated the Locust with a passion. Was always ready to kill him. You know, he had really cool skins of his. Like a Commando Dom is really cool. It's like a throwback to a different war he was in. And then the different Commando Dom from Gears of War 4, where he was in war with Hoffman, I think, before he met Marcus. And I just really like Dom. And, you know, he's a person you felt sympathy for because he had a wife, he had kids, and he lost it to the Locust, the Locust War, and he was pretty much alone by Gears 3. And, you know, his death was sad. It was very sad, and it was a shame he died. But I always thought he was just a great character. Love his chemistry with Marcus. I like his involvement in all the Gears of War games he was in. He was just a great addition to the series. I actually prefer him over Marcus. It was always cool to play as him in co-op if you're playing as 2-player. I always liked using him in all the Gears of War games, whether it was campaign or the versus and horde mode. Always one of my favorites to use. Always been my favorite Gears of War character of all time personally, just because I like his personality, I like his design, I like his voice actor, I like a lot of his lines, and he was always just such a cool character and, you know, just really awesome. And I felt sympathy for the stuff he went through, and I could get behind him hating these locusts and wanting to kill them. And he was just always such an awesome badass character, and he had great chemistry with the rest of the team he was a part of. Great chemistry with Baird, great chemistry with Cole, and that whole team was iconic. Cole, Baird, Marcus, and Dom, just such an iconic team. And Dom had a cool chemistry with all those characters and stuff he had going on with Franklin getting the Junker. You know, he had some fun dialogue in the series, and yeah, that's my favorite Gears of War character of all time, Dom. Great character, phenomenal character. So that's it for my top 10 Gears of War characters. I mean, there's a lot of good characters in the series. It was somewhat tough putting this list together because, you know, throw some honorable mentions. I like Baird. He's pretty cool. He's like an asshole, smart ass type character, cool design. You know, Cole's cool. The Carmines are cool. Scourge is cool. Therons are cool. Foz from Gears 5, I think, is one of the few good characters from the new Gears of War. I thought JD, his Gears of War 5 adaptation was phenomenal. He should have been the main character, not fucking Kate. Fuck Kate. Boring character, don't care for her. You know, the Onyx guards are cool. You know, there's a lot of good characters in the series. Marcus is a cool character, but these are personally my top 10 favorite Gears of War characters, and going pick 10, you know, or else I'd have them all in here, right? So that's it for my list. Now you're going to see Andrew Mavaddat's list of his top 10 Gears of War characters. And yeah, this video was also requested by, I think their name is Fighting God or something like that. They wanted to see this, so it's finally going to be here. And I figured it was time to do this as well, since I'm a fan of the Gears of War series. And yeah, that's all I got to say on my part. And remember, if you're into gaming and you like video games, and you want to watch a channel that talks about video games, subscribe to this channel and like the video if you liked it, and let us know in the comments what your top 10 Gears of War characters are. That's all I gotta say for my part. Peace.
What's up, y'all? It's me, Andrew Mavaddat. I'm here with Jekyll Gold Kid Gaming, and today we're gonna bring you our top 10 Gears of War characters. First off, all major shout out to Jekyll Gold Kid Gaming, and subscribe to Jekyll Gold Kid and Jekyll Gold Kid Gaming. Jekyll Gold Kid is a very hardworking and good and loyal YouTuber and friend. Be sure to subscribe to his main channel, Jekyll Gold Kid, as well as Jekyll Gold Kid Gaming. Thank you, Jekyll Gold Kid, for having me on with your collab. our top 10 Gears of War characters. And this is going to be a good collab. So yeah, Gears of War is a very good gaming franchise. It's one of my personal favorite game series of all time, if not one of the greatest. Anyway, without further ado, here are my top 10 Gears of War characters, featuring Jackal Gold Kid Gaming. Alright. Number 10, I put in, for number 10, Lieutenant Min Young Kim. Lieutenant Kim is the leader of the Delta Squad. He's on mission to rescue the light mass bomb resonator. After rescuing Alpha Squad and retrieving the resonator, COG was ambushed. Lieutenant Kim was killed, unfortunately, and Marcus Phoenix became leader of the Delta Squad after Kim. Lieutenant Young Kim is a no-nonsense, strong soldier. Number 9, Victor Hoffman. Victor Hoffman is a military man at the core. He and Marcus Phoenix crossed swords on multiple occasions. In time, Victor had to rely on Marcus and Delta Squad as the Locust War had escalated. In Gears of War 2, Victor was more grateful to the Delta Squad and to Marcus Phoenix. In time, Victor had to rely on Marcus and Delta Squad as the Locust War had escalated. In Gears of War 2, Victor was more grateful to the Delta Squad and to Marcus Phoenix. Hoffman joined Marcus when the Locust Horde attacked. He uses a sniper rifle in combat and opened the doors for Delta Squad to advance. For number 8, I put the snipers. The snipers have the lowest health of all the drones. These drones have one eye removed as punishment back in the swarm hierarchy. Their weapon of choice is a long shot. And the swarm sniper has a heightened sense of vision to pop a gear skull from miles away. And that's for the snipers, and for the Locust Sniper as well. Number 7, Scourge. Scourge is a very important character in Gears of War 2, and was mentioned in Gears of War 3 as well. Scourge is the successor of General Raams. He fought Delta Squad in the Nexus, as well as in Operation Hollow Storm. At the end of Operation Hollow Storm, pardon me. Scourge is able to control the Rift Worm, and he had planned to sink Jacinto also. But Delta Squad killed the Rift Worm in time. Number 6 is the Locust Queen, aka Myra, Myrrah. The Locust Queen is the co-creator and the queen of the Locust Horde. She led her people underground to create Nexus. Myra continues the work to destroy humanity since Emergence Day and claimed Sarah for her people. Number 5, Damon Baird. Damon is a sarcastic and reluctant soldier to destroy humanity since Emergence Day and claimed Sarah for her people. Number 5, Damon Baird. Damon is a sarcastic and reluctant soldier with some serious mechanical skills. Damon is one of the 4 members of Delta Squad from Gears of War. He was originally in Alpha Squad until his unit was killed. But in Gears of War 2, Damon Baird is more accepting of Marcus's command of the Delta Squad. Number 4, General Ram. General Ram is the main antagonist and the final boss in Gears of War, and in Gears of War 3, Ram's Shadow. He's a Locust general. He's directly responsible for millions and billions of deaths as high standing amongst the Locust Horde. It's part of the Theron Guard. Ram usurped the military leadership of the Locust Horde through skill and intellect. He has great skill and strength, and he's the only known Locust able to control the Krill. Number 3, Coltrane. Coltrane is a major character in Gears of War and Gears of War Judgement. He's a former famous thrashball player who joined the Coalition after E-Day. In the Locust War, he participated in the light mass offensive in Operation Hollowstorm. Coltrane saw the end of the war when Adam launched the emulsion countermeasure. And as part of Delta 1, he became the most reliable squad of the Gears, fighting on the front lines of every major operation near the end of the Locust War. Number 2, Dominic Santiago. Dominic was a patriotic soldier who served alongside Mark to allow Phoenix to join their team, Delta Squad. Dominic Santiago was a true soldier and a true friend to Marcus Phoenix, especially bringing him out of that prison. Since that, unfortunately, Marcus Phoenix was sentenced to for 4 years. So, I mean, talk about a true soldier. And number 1, y'all saw this one coming, I'm sure. Marcus Phoenix. Marcus Phoenix is a legendary war hero. Marcus Phoenix fought bravely in the Locust War for 10 years until he abandoned his post to save his father. And you saw from number 2 that he was sentenced to prison for 4 years and was saved by Dominic Santiago. Marcus Phoenix successfully detonated the light mass bomb and destroyed much of the Locust Hollow and Locust Horde. Marcus was officially reinstated to the COG army. Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago absolutely deserve to be number 1 and 2, although all these characters are epic and great. Dominic and Marcus were truly pioneers in this game franchise. I mean, they're true soldiers, especially what Dominic did to break Marcus out of that prison. So yeah, there's my top 10 Gears of War characters. I hope you guys enjoyed, and you'll see Jacko Goldkick's top 10 Gears of War characters. And I want to thank Jacko Goldkick for letting me on this collab on the Jacko Goldkick gaming channel. Thank you so much, Jacko Goldkick. Shout out to you, man. You rock. I thank you, man. Thanks for having me on this collab. And I hope you enjoy more of Jacko Goldkick and Jacko Goldkick Gaming's video. This is my part, Andrew Mavaddat, to the top 10 Gears of War characters. I give it back to you, Jacko Goldkick. Thank you again for having me on this collab.